Hey everyone, welcome back to the Growth Signal, where we are rethinking customer relationships, how we build them, how we keep them, and how we lead as customer expectations rapidly evolve. I'm Alyssa Nolte,
I'm Kristi Faltorusso.
and we are going to have a great conversation today. So, Christy, let's get right into it. What is your hot take?
Okay. So, and I want to hope, I'm going to hope and pray that my hot take is not something that you guys have heard before. But my hot take is that your experience is not your differentiator. Not any longer, not in the age of AI. Because honestly, the org chart that we once knew no longer exists.
So, tell me more about that. Like, when you say your experience, are you meaning like your onboarding experience, your customer
Anybody's
responsiveness?
experience. So the fact that I have had 13 years of experience in customer success, I've had multiple leadership roles, 5 different SaaS companies, built, scaled, and transformed CS teams. That is no longer my differentiator in the age of AI. Because all of the things that I have come to learn over those 13 years, anybody can learn. So these things are not things that you have to go through your journey and have to learn by trial and error. And it's not just because people are so freely sharing information on the internet, probably more than they should be, and probably without having the experience, but AI is empowering folks to learn and lean in ways that we just didn't have access to before. And so I don't need 13 years of experience to learn the things that I've learned. I can learn them now.
Right. It's like AI is kind of that ultimate hack cheat sheet kind of situation. But my big concern with what you're saying is that we are losing the ability to problem solve and think critically and like go through that process. Because yes, you learned how to fix something or do something over those course of many years and many roles, but you also learned how to react to situations that were unknown. So how do we as leaders who are paving the way for the next generation of customer success, future leaders, how do you teach them when they've kind of got a cheat sheet at their fingertips?
Listen, there's things that obviously as humans that we will be able to do that AI is not going to be able to do, right? We can think about it through the lens of relationships. You can think about it even such that, listen, AI might get you 95% of the way there. And then it's our critical thinking and our ability to take information, qualitative and quantitative, and say, okay, for 5%, like this is the value that I bring. But the reality is that roles have evolved and have shifted. And you just don't need what you needed before to be equally as successful. So there are things that humans will obviously be able to do that AI cannot, but we need to reimagine what these roles look like. And I think too many people right now are really thinking too small about AI, right? They're thinking, how do I make my job more efficient? How do I become, better with time management? How do I get access to better or more insightful data so I can do this job? And the reality is, I think we need to be thinking about what is the future of our jobs? What is the future work that we need to do? Not how do we be more efficient at doing the job today? What's the work that will need to happen in the future?
Yeah, do you feel like people are already figuring that out? Like, are there people in the shadows who haven't told us all, but hey, we figured out that you can use AI for this and this and this, and it's making me better, smarter, faster, stronger, whatever word you want to use. Like, are people solving this or is this in the future?
Well, listen, I can't speak to what everybody is doing in their free time, but I will tell you, I spend minimally an hour a day spending time learning AI. And so whether that is taking online courses, whether I'm reading, I will tell you, I'm microdosing small bits of AI information on TikTok. That is like my sweet spot right now. YouTube Shorts, YouTube videos, AWS, Google, all of these organizations. I mean, even deep learning, all of these places you can find really great information, resources, learnings around AI. And so for me, I'm spending all of my time there, all of my free time learning to re engineer the work that I'll need to do in the future. Because the reality is, my job is evolving, the work of CSMs is evolving. And again, it's not how do I make my work today better? It's what is the work that I'll need to do? And I think that folks that are leaning in and really investing the time to learn, and I don't just mean learning. I think that there's also this component of being hands-on with it. Like products like Lovable, like Create. I built 2 products this weekend. 2 full baked products on Lovable. They had a free open weekend. Use our product, no cost, no credits. And I built 2 solutions that all I have to do is copy that code over to my website, hook it up to my backend, and it works. Okay. That's what's happening. And that's the disruption that is the future. And it's going to evolve, and the entire tech landscape is going to feel it in a very real way. Because even how I think about the consumption of products that I might purchase, why not build it myself? Why not make it very bespoke to what my needs are? And they're going to be slightly unique. And so it's not just reading and listening, it's learning, it's the doing part of it too. Because if you're not also able to connect and apply these things, I think you're also at a complete disadvantage.
What do you think that evolution looks like? Like, take us through a day in the life of the AI optimized CS leader.
Well, listen, right now we are dealing with surface level data. I'll give you a great example. Health scores. I feel like anyone who's building a health score in a CSP, and listen, I work for client success. So, yes, I should be saying that, yeah, you still need our health scores. All the CSPs in this space that are using and still pushing the legacy model for customer health scores, those are effectively obsolete. As far as I'm concerned, those are obsolete because the way that they are built formulaically and the inputs are being put in by humans, right?
Yeah.
We are saying this is the element of a successful health score, right? This is what good looks like. This is what bad looks like. And let me tell you, as somebody who advises a lot of companies, they have no idea. They're taking best guesses or they're doing what somebody else in the space told them that they heard on a webinar or a podcast and said, this is how we should be building our health score. With the disruption of AI and my ability to analyze data critically and using really thoughtful prompt engineering, I can go and actually find out what good looks like and how I think about that. So that's one example of when I think about how I'm leading the business, I'm not leading it the same way that I did because a lot of the assumptions that I was making, quite frankly, were wrong. And so even just thinking about how you analyze data, the work that I do, right? Bunch of my time is spent reaching out to customers, right? Executive engagement. I'm an executive sponsor on the majority of the customers that I work with. I'm not I don't have to send one-on-one emails anymore, right? I'm not spending the time doing there. I have the ability to connect it to my calendar, to connect it to my inbox. I'm going through my inbox I in minutes instead of hours. I'm optimizing my calendar. I'm finding where those gaps are. I am able to drive more efficiency. And so these are little hacks just today that I'm able to do with what is available. It's going to change infinitely over time, right? These again, we are stepping in puddles, not pools, and this is going to change.
Yeah. I just hosted a roundtable called "Is It Time to Kill the Customer Health Score?" And you are spot on. The idea that like basically the discussion boiled down to, look, the health score's been dead for a long time. We've just been
Yeah.
pretending it hasn't been. And one of the examples that one of the guests panelists gave me is that they had a health score that required CSM input in order for them to advance a renewal. A lot of times they didn't know the answer, so they just made something up so that they could get past it in their Salesforce instance. And that was like a commonly known practice. And yet the leadership was using these health scores as if they were gospel. And we found out, and they knew. And it's like, okay, if we are actively making decisions based on data we know is garbage, what are we doing here?
I mean, this is the biggest issue, I think, even forget AI and the use cases there. So many of the organizations that I speak to, right? They're like, yeah, I want to do this, I want to do that. I'm like, okay, well, let's start with what is the data that you're making these decisions and driving your strategy around? Is it accurate? Is it current? Is it governed? There's no governance either. So even
Right.
if you get an organization that's like, hey, I spent all of Q4 getting our data all cleaned up, which required 5 hours of manual input from every single person in the organization, who is keeping that current? What is the governance model around that? I see sales teams being able to close fields on ops all day long. Half complete information, things that are inaccurate, things that maybe to your point, multi-select pick list, yeah, I'll choose this 'cause I need something because it's a required field. The
And I can't
input
move on until
right,
I do.
right. It's like, okay, so this is my little drawbridge. Okay, click that, go. The things that we have in place today are prohibitive. They are prohibitive. If we are relying on that to think about our future strategy built off of the innovation around AI, we're at a complete disadvantage. And I mean, more people are going to uncover landmines before they get any value from it.
Well, and like with all things, right? Health scores are well intentioned. They were intended to do something good back in the day, and then they kind of got blown up. And I worry that AI is going to have a similar issue, right? We're well intentioned, but we're not feeding it with good things. It might be governed, it might be accurate, it might even be current, but is it relevant? Is a
Well,
thing we
this is
also have
the
to talk
other
about.
thing. But I will tell you, so some funny enough, I even have some leaders who are thinking very creatively about this, but even how they're thinking about prompts to ask questions to the data is falling short of meeting expectations and like real value. And so there's so many elements of this that can just lead to us failing really fast. And then my fear is that we're going to fail doing certain things and then people won't trust that this can actually drive things
Yes.
forward. But now you layer that in with the fact that most people are being mandated to use AI, right? And I hear this all the time. VCs and PE firms and investors across the board are mandating that their organizations analyze their current tech stacks and make sure that every single team, the tools that they are using, have AI. Now, listen, that is all well and good, but a mandate is not a strategy. And so
Right.
when you have mandates being governed from that high level, coming down to folks who don't understand strategically how to think about layering an AI to transform their business, you've got a lot of people doing a lot of wacky things.
Yeah, and even, like, I'm an early adopter, right? So I'm one of those people that I'm like, "Get me all of the new things. I'm gonna get in there, I'm gonna try it, I'm gonna play with it, and love it." But I have learned the hard way a couple of times where I misused it because I didn't understand it, or I misused it because it really wasn't what I wasn't using it the way it was intended to do. And so then
Right.
I got disappointed and frustrated with it, not through any fault of the product or the experience, but because I didn't have the skills necessary to make it the most effective it could be. And I think
Yeah.
we're gonna see that on the enterprise level, especially if you're just like mandating and slapping AI down up and down your entire stack.
It's gonna be crazy. I mean, honestly, and they talk about there is this idea and this concept, right, of hallucinations, right? So depending on how you're prompting the AI engines to work and what answers you're looking for, it's gonna come back with things that are just inaccurate, right? And so it has to have some governance around this, but more importantly, you need to be enabling people. Going back to customer success teams just never being properly trained and enabled, just in general, right? They don't even know how to do their job. And now we're saying, do a very different job with this technology that is so new, that is not proven, but go do these things and be more efficient and go be smarter with this. We're not, again, we're missing the mark on training enablement and educate, just fundamental education around this. And forget the fact that half the people right now, and I know that people are doing this, are also dropping proprietary data into open sources, not protecting. I mean, the security risks here are also like it's mayhem out there. Alyssa, it is crazy. And I'm sure you're seeing and hearing similar things.
Yeah, I tend to work on the sales side. So, I did a consulting project for a huge sales team, big training, a whole conversation, all, 80,000 of their sellers got trained on this. And then I had a conversation with someone on the CS side and I was like, "Oh, did you guys get access to this training? Have you also, how did it work for the post-sale conversation?" And they looked at me with like a blank stare because sales got all of this training and CS didn't even know it existed. I think that that is not an uncommon
No,
experience,
that
especially
tells
across
all this
enterprise.
time, right? Like you go into an organization, you have sales enablement teams.
Yeah, that's I
You
mean,
have
that's
you
I was
have
a
mini
consultant.
armies.
I was
Right.
a consultant brought in to do that. We were working alongside McKinsey. They were probably spending millions of dollars for
Right.
this to happen for the sales team, but CS just kinda got left out, in left field there.
Yeah. I mean, and that just happened. I mean, like, I feel like that is just the norm. You've got folks that maybe value it, but even still, they're not getting funded the way these other teams are. There is no formal training programs in most organizations that continue to enable it. And listen, we saw it how quickly folks were dropping commercial responsibilities over onto the CS side without any training enablement. Now, for years,
Right.
we've been staffing these teams to be consultative and advisors and to understand change management and training, enablement. Okay, great. We did all of that when we hired. We hired the right profile, but now we're saying the roles have changed, but nobody has trained these folks on how to run commercial motions. And then we wonder why that's not working. So,
Right.
I mean, listen, we're going to continue to see this across all organizations. Companies need to recognize that this in particular needs the time and attention. Like, fine, you don't want to train people on how to have appropriate conversations or objection handling. Okay, whatever. That was your choice. But this is too big for you to get it wrong and for you to not bring your teams along with you.
Yeah, it's hard to overstate the level of change I'm thinking we're gonna see as AI actually becomes truly mainstream. I talked to
Yeah.
someone who didn't know what ChatGPT was, and I'm like, "That's my daily best friend. How do you not know who
I mean,
that
I use it for everything, Alyssa. I type in, like,
everything?"
"What's in my refrigerator?" and tell me what to eat.
I You can take a picture now. I take a picture of my refrigerator and I
So
say, "Tell me what to
crazy.
eat."
Yeah.
But, like, I'm trying to I have young kids, 6 and 9, he's almost 10. And, like, we're working on AI now, so, like, I'll give him my phone, I'll say, "Open up ChatGPT, tell it what we have in the fridge, tell it what you like to eat, and let's make a recipe," right? And trying to teach him how this all works because I just fear that our educational opportunities and the ways we are training people even as young as school-age children are not prepared for what we're about to see in the shift that's about to happen.
Well, no, but I mean, like, think about it. teachers, God love them. They're doing God's work. I appreciate them
I
very
could literally never.
never. It was never even a consideration for me. So, yes, they're doing God's work. I get that. But they don't understand AI, right? Like, because they don't
Yeah.
have to, right? Like, if I'm a math teacher, I'm a science teacher, I'm a social studies teacher, that's what I'm responsible for learning. But they don't understand that how these kids, what they have access to, and the fact that this needs to be a part of their learning journey now, not in 10 years, not when they get to college, now. I mean, that's a huge disservice as well. I mean, I've got my daughter's slightly older, so my daughter's 16, she's gonna be going into her senior year of high school, and we use AI all the time,
Yeah. Well,
and
and if
she's
you as a teacher, your biggest
frustrated.
concern is, whether or not they used AI to write an essay,
I mean,
like,
that's the biggest concern, and to me, I'm like, "That's what you're
that's
losing
what we're
sleep
worried
over?"
about? Yeah.
Right.
Like, there's so much
Um,
more to be worried about.
cor correct, yes.
So, you talked about, you get a lot of your AI micro learning from TikTok. I am a TikTok fiend as well. Semi not proud of it, but I do learn a lot on there. So if I'm wanting to my company's not gonna provide it for me. I want to level up, I wanna be strategic. How can I, 1, go ahead and start learning those skills, and 2, make sure I get credit for having added those skills so that when the opportunity comes up for a promotion or something great, that I get credit for doing the work outside of my quote unquote job description.
Listen, these are great questions. So first I would say is like, while I do love TikTok and no one rots in a scroll like I do, I promise you, I'd probably go head to head if you saw how much time I spent on this app. I would say, listen, you've also got to be very cautious of who you're learning from. What are the sources of information? Because anybody can be an expert these days, right? Anyone can market themselves as an expert.
Yep.
And so I would say, first, if I'm starting my learning journey, I want to start with credible sources. You've got Google, you've got OpenAI, you've got all of these resources. AWS, I was just taking a course yesterday. They've got a free one on deep learning. You can go and take fundamentals of prompt engineering. So I take at least 1 or 2 courses a week. I do the micro learning. I love YouTube shorts and TikTok to kind of like from some of the people that I've known that are now credible resources. I've learned their names. I go and I follow them. So I would start with figuring out where are the credible resources you can go and access free learning. Now, there are several people that I follow on LinkedIn who are always sharing these are the places to go look. And so there's plenty of links, there's plenty of courses that are available. Alyssa, I'm happy to even share some of those resources. You can put them in your
Yeah.
show notes, but there is so much that can be learned. So I would say start with your credible resources, go through some of the fundamentals. There's plenty of that out there. Now, the second component of this is I do think you've got to get your hands dirty. Right? It's one thing to learn it, it's another thing to apply it. So you have to also now spend the time to put it to work. Now, not only have I built myself, I don't know, I think I probably have over a dozen of my own GBTs that I've built for myself to just make the work that I do easier, faster, smarter, better. Um, so I've played with that. I've also built products. Like I said, I've used Create. I've used there's another one that starts with an R. I can't remember it right now. And then most recently, Lovable is the last one that I just subscribed to that I've been building on a lot. These are all platforms where you can go and understand how are the prompts that you're putting in actually going to build product, right? So you can start to really envision how that comes to life. So I would say start to play with it, start to try different things. And the last component I would say is to your point about how do you get the credit for this? You need to be applying it to how can you use what you've learned in your day to day today? How do you make it relevant to your role, to your business, or the opportunities that you're pursuing and socialize that? And I feel like the last part of that is where people fall short. They're doing things in a vacuum, they're doing it in the dark, they're doing these things and they're great. But if you're not talking about what you're doing, you're not socializing it, you're not sharing it, you're not enabling others to do and learn with you, no one's going to see that. It no longer becomes a differentiator for you. So if you want to be able to get credit, as you put it, you've got to be out there talking about it. And it's not bragging and it's not negative, right? And don't listen to the naysayers. If you've got somebody in your team who's like, no, you go out there. If you're doing something great and smart and disruptive, driving value, go and socialize the work that you're doing and bring your organization along with you. That is how you get seen and that's how you get the credit. And that's where the real impact lies.
I love that you may use the word socialize specifically because I think a lot of times people confuse personal brand, public facing, like my LinkedIn profile and the posts of this podcast, the stuff I'm posting on TikTok, right? But you also need to build a personal brand inside of your organization. You might
Yeah.
never post on LinkedIn a day in your life, but if you haven't figured out how to tell your own story to your team or to your boss or to your boss's boss, I think that's where a lot of people miss out that it is a branding exercise.
Yeah. And there's nothing negative about it. I think that historically probably had some negative connotation by brown nosers or people that were like sucking up. And it is not about that, right? And it shouldn't even be positioned that way. The way I talk about it and have over the past several years is how is the work that I'm doing driving the business forward? This isn't about me, right? It's about the collective we. And I think if you position things the right way and you also bring folks along with you, I think that's the big part that a lot of folks forget, enable others to do the same thing, right? So nobody feels like, oh, well, that person just, they have more time. They've got a smaller book. So of course they can do these, right? Like there's always somebody who's going to say something negative.
Yeah.
Bring your team along with you. I had a CSM yesterday who showed me something that he did using AI. And I was like, that is super cool. Go share that with the other CSMs. Go put it in the Slack channel on our team meeting. You're going to walk them through that and you're going to explain to them what you did, how you did it. And I said, you will take the entire meeting. It is yours. And I want you to explain that. And
Yeah.
so, yes, he went to me first and sure, that was great. And he gets the credit for that. But I want him to also up level the team, right? And I want them to benefit from that. But I also want them to feel empowered to do it themselves too, right? Like go explore other things. Look, this person did it. You can do it too. It is not like one person gets the credit and like that's it. Everyone should be doing it.
And also, I think as a leader, creating a culture of exploration where you're
Yeah.
allowed to go try things. Because I've worked for organizations, I've consulted for organizations where the culture is so rigid that
Yeah.
I mean, if someone came and said like, "Oh, here's this cool thing I made," they'd be like, "Well, you shouldn't have been doing that because that's not your job." Right? So creating that culture of exploration and allowing team members to try things is not always the base default standard.
Yeah, it's definitely not, and it may not be welcome, but at the end of the day, you shouldn't stifle your growth because the culture that you're unfortunately in right now is not seeing value in that. You shouldn't personally suffer. So if that is the organization and you might get your hand slapped, maybe you don't socialize it, but you should keep learning and up-leveling your skills because you will find yourself perhaps maybe one day soon, trying to find something else and an environment where they do foster that. And you will now have these skills that will be a differentiator for you. Because even as I look at resumes, right, I don't see a ton of people, especially in customer success right now, touting the work that they're doing using AI on their resumes. That is a huge
Yeah.
differentiator than if you're somebody who knows how to do these things, has proven impact, doing something cool and innovative. And I mean, that would be the bold front page summary for me if I was applying now.
Yeah, maybe take off the, proficient in Microsoft Word,
Oh my
PowerPoint,
gosh, hate
Excel
that.
section, because that is that's a base
Is
level
that still thing?
expectation.
Are we still doing that?
I do still see people who
Oh,
have, like, proficient in
oh,
and, like, all of those. I'm like, "Babe, we learned that in 3rd grade." Like, that
I
is not
know. That's not,
it's
yeah.
not a
And,
differentiator
like,
anymore.
actually, if you do, oh my gosh, the worst is if I see, like, Outlook, like, if you have, like, in your email client on there too. Ooh,
No. Mm-mm. No. No, thank
alright.
you.
Okay, okay, guys. You heard it here first.
We don't need that. Tell us what you're innovative in, not proficient
Right.
in, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about the future of customer success. We talked about it a little bit, but if someone wants to take one step that they could do today to start driving forward and making sure that they have future proofed their career, what would you have them do? What's that one thing they should start doing right now?
One small thing, go build your own GPT. On the $20 a month version, which honestly, like, sacrifice your 1 or 2 lattes that month, don't get them. Go pay the $20 a month. I promise you, like I say that there's 2 things I pay every month that I wish they would charge me more, and that is my paid version of Canva and my paid version of ChatGPT. Like,
Love
they
Canva.
do not charge me enough for the value that I get from these solutions, and I say it all the time. So, go pay your $20 a month. It will be the best investment you make because this is your playground. This is where you can go build. Now go build a GPT. Now, GPT is your personal GPT is fantastic for things that you do more than once. And guess what? If you are in customer success, I am confident that you are probably have at least one thing that you do more than once. And likely you probably do it hundreds of times for all of your customers over an extended amount of time. Go build something. Go put your fingerprints on something. Go test it, play with it, iterate on it. Being able to do that, and I promise you it is not difficult, will help you start to understand different and new concepts, different use cases, different value adds. So that would be my first piece of advice. If you do nothing else, it will help you operationalize your day-to-day a bit better and become efficient at one thing.
I love that. And I think I always tell people pick one because I don't we have what 60 something episodes. If you pick one thing of every episode, all of a sudden you have a really robust skill set. So pick that one thing. I agree. Go build up a GPT. You will be surprised. how much good information I always like to have mine, I one of my custom instructions is roast me. So every time I write something, I drop in my writing and I say, "Roast this." And then I get really good critical feedback on what people are gonna roll their eyes at, right? And, like, if you wanna
Yeah.
put out something that people are gonna read and engage with, well, let ChatGPT flame you first. So,
Yeah.
that's my
Listen,
favorite
I
prompt.
mean, there's a lot to learn out there, but I do feel like the best learning will happen if you just start getting your hands dirty. Don't be afraid of it and just start playing.
Yeah, I love that. Considering all of the incredible people that you know that you've had a chance to build a relationship with or that you just follow online, who is leading the charge? Who is changing the way we build relationships with our customers? Okay.
So things that I'm watching obviously a lot of folks and I'm seeing different things in different pockets. I think for me, it's not necessarily just what people are doing today. What I'm really interested in hearing is how people are thinking about the future because I do recognize that in a lot of organizations, things, processes, tools, systems, they can be prohibitive. So for me, I think the things that I'm looking for and the folks that I find are leading out are the ones that are talking about it most thoughtfully. And one of my favorite people, I think, who has a great strategy or at least a mindset around the embracing AI is David Karp, who's the CCO over at Disco. I love the way he thinks about the future of customer just small ways across his organization to drive some disruption. So for me, it would be David Karp. I really value him in this space. I love his voice. I love his point of view. I think he always gives me something to think differently about. And so whether or not I think that he is doing it all today and driving miraculous change, no, I don't think any of us are today. But I think that he thinks about it the right way. And I will be very interested to watch what he does do in the future.
Awesome. And if someone's really connecting with you, they wanna learn more, they wanna follow along, where can they find you online?
2 places you can go find me. You can go find me on LinkedIn. I'm the only Kristi Faltorusso there. And if that's not enough for you, you can head over to my website, KristiFaltorusso.com. All of my content is over there as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me on the Growth Signal.
Thank you, Alyssa.